today is a air suspension kit to be installed on my 1985 camper, which is based on a G3500. So just have the axle on a pile of wood. I will lift a little bit more, and just to show you how this is made. The bumper, sorry for the recording, but the bumper is very close, and every time you go a little bit on a rough road, the axle hits the bumper and makes for a very rough ride. So the trick is to remove this this bracket, which is welded on each side. I will have to cut them off, and then install the air suspension kit in between the axle and the main frame. Tough job? I don't know. I have new leaf spring installed on the truck last fall, about a year ago. I will lift the truck a little bit to have more access to this. I will leave the suspension on this pile of block, and then I will start working on cutting this off. Now I've jacked the truck a little bit so I get more clearance here for working on this. I will cut the first side here with my grinder with a thin wheel, and I think the other side, instead of going, because the chuck is there, I'll see, but I think I'm gonna use a metal saw blade and just try to cut the other side with the saw blade. I'll see. Now I'm finished cutting the this side with the grinding wheel, and I had to grind this part here because this area is not welded, but this one is spot welded to the frame. So I had to grind off, not touching the frame, but only the middle piece until I get the knockoff of the spot weld. And there's another spot weld on the other side, but my goal now is to cut the other side through this side with this 18 teeth per inch metal saw blade. I prefer that just because there's a few gas line and the gas tank is there, and going on the other side with the grinder and try to grind it out is gonna make a lot of sparks. And anyway, maybe I'm too scared for nothing, but I'll try with the metal blade. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to grind it off. I'm getting close. It went really good. I could cut this side with the metal blade very easily, and the last spot weld I didn't have to grind off. I only used my pry bar, and I pried the piece and it popped out. So I now have the bumper removed. I'm gonna save that piece because if I want to reverse the suspension, I just have to re-weld this in place and remove the airbag. So this piece I will keep for sure. I will show you the space I have now underneath. You now see all of the open space I have. So of course, before I attach anything permanently, I will paint these with Rust-Oleum or something like that, just to make sure that I will not create any damage to the frame with rust. So yeah, there's a plate to install here for the airbag to go, and there's a bracket on the top. I think I will have to drill into the frame and tap a hole or something like that. I'm not sure. I will have to get the part in place and see how I can get this piece, the top piece, fitted. This is how I'm going to have to install the plates. This U-bolt won't go lower because it's actually touching the axle, so it's gonna have to remain on an angle like this. And the bottom bracket, to install it, it's in the shocks position, so I can't install it. I'll have to install it a little bit closer to the wheel like this. So I'm gonna have to drill new holes on the plate right beside the balloon should be the air suspension, and these bolts will go through this bracket that will hold it in place. So the plate will be hold around the axle and around these main bolts that supports the leaf. So I think that should be strong enough. That should be okay. We'll give it a try. I have 2 new holes to make on the plate, and I will have to cut off these 2 parts here that should be the other way around. This plate should be on the other way around, but if I put it on the right side, then these holes they go against the leaf, and I cannot put the U-bolt. So I really have to put it upside down in order to be able to install it. So we'll just get rid of these 2 brackets so that the air suspension can go here. I needed to add holes into the plate, but I wanted to use these bolts. So I need square holes, and of course I can only make round holes. I don't have any tools to make square holes, so I made round holes, and I filed the corner with this little square file. It worked pretty good. Now my bolt fit perfectly, and it's going to be very, very tight and strong. So because the center screw on the slot here was bumping on the axle, I made 2 new holes. There are 3 mounting holes on the plate of that suspension system. So now these bolts will be on each side of the axle. So I'm going to go into on the vehicle and try to fit this piece and see if it's nice. If it fits nice, then I will move to the upper part and do some kind of bracket to hold the top mounting bracket. This is how the airbag is mounted to the top bracket. So that's going to be a quite tricky thing to do, because these will be very, very blind bolts. I will have to go somehow with my hands, run these bolts in place and ratchet them very, very slowly, because there's no other way that I can attach this. The airbag is going to be mounted to the bottom bracket before I install them on the truck, because there's no way I can bolt them from underneath with the axle in the way. So these are the last bolt that I will have to put in place, and it's going to be located in a very, very blind spot. This is the final position of the lower plate. As you can see, I could fit with the new bolts this bracket right beside the shock bracket, and I've got the 2 mounting screws that fits on each side of the axle instead of the center mounted bolt. Now the top bracket will go like this, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a bracket that's gonna be welded to the frame on the other side. It's gonna run inside here, and I will bolt through that hole. So I will be able to install this bracket as the last piece, but I will have to go here inside and bolt the airbag to the bracket. That's gonna be a very blind space, but I can use my phone and yeah, I can do something. And by the way, now the air connector is not there, but the air connector is going to be in the way, because I need to put the air connector first and make sure it doesn't leak before I install this bracket. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be okay for a DIY. Should work. Here is the bracket I came up with, that has been cut in a 2x2 square tube. And the way it's gonna work, I'm gonna have this bracket, it's gonna have a hole, a threaded hole into it, and it's gonna go here. It's gonna be welded to the frame, and through this hole I'm gonna bolt the upper bracket to this permanently welded bracket. So I will be able to do the assembly starting by the bottom plate with the airbag, and then the top plate, screwing the top plate in place, and so on, without any difficulties. So I'm gonna gauge my measure for the hole. I'm gonna make a hole with a 1" 13 tap thread into it, and I'm gonna use a 1/2 inch bolt to secure this bracket to this one. Once it's bolted in place, I'll find the exact position. I will tack this bracket to the frame. I will remove everything and I will weld it permanently in place. So the bracket is now completed. I welded another piece of metal inside so I get more thread. Instead of having only a couple of threads going to the plate, I now have 4 or 5 threads on the 1/2 inch bolt, which is going to be much stronger. So now I'm going to trial fit this, tack this in place, remove everything, and weld this to the frame of the truck. So the top permanent bracket is tacked in place. This is how it looks like. Yeah, I just need to weld it all around, make it strong, and then paint it. And I have to paint the other parts before I can do the final assembly. I need to go to the hardware store because I'm missing a couple of screws that one of the type that I want that are included in the kit, but I want some other screws. So I'm going to the hardware store. I'm going to do my painting and welding, and I'm going to complete the assembly of the passenger side of the of this air suspension kit. I now have the first airbag installed, so before I put the wheel back and I remove the wood blocks underneath the axle, I just wanted to show you how it looks like. So you get the bracket that is bolted to this bracket that I made, that is welded to the truck, and this side you can see the U-bolt, and the bottom bracket here I can see the airbag, and the top bracket. Now we'll leave the air hose attached to it so I can, once it's on its wheel, I'm gonna test this and see how much I can raise the truck by adding like 15 or 20 pounds to the airbag. It looks pretty good. I think it's gonna do the job. We'll see. And I have the second side to do, but it's gonna be much quicker than the first side because I already modified the part and get everything done for the second side.